Want to learn Figma and start designing user interfaces today? In the next minutes, you'll set up your very first design project on Figma. In the full course, you will go further by creating complete UI designs, interactive prototypes, as well as professional workflows used by designers every day. You'll find the link in the description. Let's get started. So this is the first lesson, getting into Figma and exploring it and understanding how you can get your workspace set up. I'm assuming that you've gone ahead and downloaded the app, or at least opened the web version. Just for your information, you don't have to download the app. You can just open the website and use it from there from your browser. And I'm assuming that you've also logged yourself in. So now that you have your Figma already installed, set up, you have a lot of things going on. Just to let you know, there's recents, community. So don't get distracted by all these elements and go ahead and click on create, right? And go on design. Now you might see this differently. You might see these as different services. So just go ahead and click on design and it's going to open up a new tab for you. This new tab is basically essentially a new project file. And a project file can contain multiple pages within it, right? So, and right now we are in this file, it's untitled right now, and I'm going to go through the different elements here on the screen with you one by one. First thing we're gonna look at is the left-hand panel. Now, we have, first of all here, the logo of Figma. When you click on it, you have these regular tabs, you know, the standard tabs of file, edit, view. These can offer you a lot more options to edit things, as well as set up the file, set up some things, export, and so on, change your preferences. But these are pretty much hidden, so because you don't need to use them so much. So they're hidden here under this Figma logo. Then you have the title. You can go ahead and give your project a name, Project X, for example. It tells you this is a team project, so you can also change the name of the team project, and it says that it's free. So we have these options here. And below that, we have two different tabs. We have file and assets. Now, assets relates to design assets that you can borrow. But, you know, this is a little more advanced. But let's say you have here these libraries. So you have, for example, iOS design elements that you can borrow from here and add on to the page. But right now, let's stick with file. Now, under file, you have pages. So here you see page number 1, and it says there's 2 free pages left. This is if you have the free version like I do for this account. And you can add another page. Now you might say, what's the point of pages? I mean, is this, you know, are we writing a book here? No, it's not about that at all. It's kind of like completely different documents here. So when we go to page 1 and we create a rectangle, and you go to page 2, this rectangle is nowhere to be found, okay? So just keep that in mind. Pages are kind of like different documents within the same project. This is kind of like a file, or you can say a folder, right? And it has multiple pages within it. So let's go ahead, right-click and delete this page. And then we have layers. Now, with layers, you can just see the layers, the objects, the groups, the frames, all types of elements that you have on your canvas. So if we create another rectangle here, we can see rectangle 1 and 2. And if we make a rectangle with a different shape, you can see the shape also shown here a little bit, right? It doesn't show the color, but it shows the general shape of it just to give you an idea. So this is pretty much to give you an overview of what's happening in your file. You can also search for things within it. So you can search for different text, or you can search for names of files and so on. You can also replace, you can choose what you're searching for exactly. Is it an image, a shape, and so on. There's a lot of options. And you can also collapse this menu or this panel here just so you can have more space to see your project. But I would recommend that you keep it here. You know, you can minimize it or you can expand it if you have a bigger screen, for example, and you can afford that, just to get a general grip on what's going on your design file. Okay, so you can see the layers all here. That's really useful. And then here on the bottom, we have a toolbar. You might often, maybe assume or expect the toolbar to be up there or maybe on the left or something like that. But no, on Figma, it's here below and you can't do much to it, to be honest. You can't move it, you can't do much to it. A lot of people see that as limiting, but to be honest, I find it, simpler is better. I don't want to be able to throw my tools all around, but rather have them in one place, and I know they're always going to be there. We're going to talk about the tools separately later on, but for now, let's look on the right-hand panel, and here we have design. So under design, you have design and prototype. These are two different views. As I said before, prototype relates more to animations and how you show the project. So when you want to show it to a client, how it would look like. And then you have design. Design relates, when you don't select anything, you can change the page. So the color of the background, you can make it white or you can make it dark. It's up to you. You can also change variables, styles, but these are things we haven't talked about yet, and they are a little more advanced, right? So don't go just there yet. But when you click on any object, this rect panel starts to show you the properties. So from position, you see the X and Y's, you have the rotation, as well as a couple of quick alignment buttons and things. You can mirror the object, flip it, and so on. You also have layout, so this is relating to the size. So the height, you can change it, the width. You have appearance, the opacity, rounded corners. You have fill, stroke, effects, and export. So in case you want to export this as an image, as a PDF, you can also do that. So a lot of options here. And you might ask me, what is this little button or here or there or whatever? And we're going to talk about them in due time. But yeah, you should kind of get a general understanding, right, of your file. Where is what and how do I use them? And that's kind of what I'm trying to give you now. So as we mentioned, the left-hand panel is your file and your layers. Here you have your toolbar where you can choose different tools. You can also use shortcuts. So here it says rectangle R. For example, you can just press R to get it. You can press V to get the normal move tool and so on. And on the right hand, you have the design specifications or properties of whatever object you're selecting. And there's a very, very important button, which is right here. This is the play button. So when you click on this button, it's going to allow you to see what you're working on from the perspective of the user. But in order to do that, you need to have a frame. Frames, frames, and frames. What are frames actually? So frames are your canvas. They are the tool or the material, let's say, that you are painting on. It's not the brush, it's not the color palette, but it is your window to the user, right? This is what the final product is and what the user is seeing, what is going to be delivered in the end. That is what a frame is. You can't draw on air, but you can draw on a wall, right? But in that sense, the wall is your canvas, and that's exactly what frames are for Figma. Right here, you select the frame tool, and what you can do is you can simply just create any frame of any size, and just like that, you have a frame. This is the screen, right? This is the screen. It could be a computer screen, a phone screen, whatever it is. And when you hold it, when you click on it and go to play, you open up a new tab on Figma that allows you to see how this frame looks like, okay? And frames are unique because you can put things within frames. You can put rectangles, you can color them or copy, paste them, put them somewhere else, and you can see how it looks like, right? So this is the screen that you're creating and that you can view. Now there are a few things to keep in mind. You can have frames within frames, okay? Create a frame here, give it a color, make it red. So this is a frame within a frame. It looks like a normal rectangle, but it's actually a frame. But the outer frame is the canvas, and this is becoming kind of like a container within a container, canvas within a canvas. And we're going to discuss why you might want to do that and what the difference between a rectangle is and a frame is. But for now, let's understand what frames are and how to use them to create screens. Okay, now one thing to understand is you can create frames in different sizes, and Figma already helps you there. So when you click on the frame tool and you go to the right hand panel, you're going to see different frames. So there's a frame of an iPhone, right? iPhone 17, 15, Pro, Max, whatever you want, different sizes, as well as Android. You have tablets, you have desktops, MacBooks, TVs. So whatever you want to create, you can create a frame of it. So just clicking on a MacBook Air, we can create it, and it shows you the actual size. This is the dimension of a MacBook Air, right? And when we click on it and we click play, we're going to see what's in that MacBook, how it looks like. And that's basically how you create a screen. You can create a frame of an iPhone, or you can create a frame of a TV or an Apple Watch even. All of that is possible. One thing that you can do as an extra, so when you create this frame, deselect everything, don't choose anything, click in the wild, just here, and then go to prototype. And Figma allows us to show a frame of a device. So since we chose MacBook Air, you can choose MacBook Air right here as a device. Sometimes it does it automatically for you. And what it's going to do is it's going to add an image of the MacBook to show your design as if it's in an actual MacBook. And that's a really neat thing because it's very immersive and it gives the user an experience or the feeling that they're actually using a MacBook. This is an actual website being shown on a laptop. Now compare this with being shown on nothing, like no device. It looks very dry, okay? So that's one thing that you can do that I'd personally recommend. But the whole idea of this lesson is that frames are your canvas. You can't just be designing in the wild. You have to have a frame, a canvas, and put your paint on it. Everything that is outside of this frame, if I come and create here a rectangle, right? And we put it here, it's not going to be shown because it's on top of it, but it's not inside of it, right? And if I put it here, it's also not visible. It's just, there's nothing. But when I drag this and I put it here, now it is within the frame. It is visible. And you can see that here. You can see the frame can contain things within it, right? And once you remove that outside of it, now the rectangle is outside. Even though it's on top, you can see it here, but it's not visible. This is how you can use frames as your canvas. In this lesson, we're going to be creating or learning how to create shapes, text boxes, vectors, and more. So, first things first, let's start by getting to know this toolbar a little bit. Now, we already have explored the Move tool, and this is the default tool that you use, that you should be using when selecting things and whatnot. So always keep that handy. And then you have the Frame tool. So this is a tool that we've also been familiar with, that we've learned how to use, basically creating frames. And then we have this rectangular tool. And each of them, they have their shortcuts. So you can click R to choose this, you can click V to choose the Move one, so you can just switch between them with these letters, okay? You just have to memorize it. So then you have this square or rectangle tool. You can create it just like that, and you can create a rectangle. It's as simple as that. You can do the same thing with line tool, right? And you have ellipse tool, arrow tool, many different things. Now, one thing that you should know that's quite important is holding shift while creating a shape basically allows you to make it, straight. It makes the dimensions equal. So 154 by 154 are the dimensions. This way it just stays the same exact size. The same thing when you want to create a rectangle. So this way it becomes a square rather than a rectangle. So that's very handy. Another thing is when creating something like a line, holding shift allows it to be straight. So if I remove shift, look what happens. I can create it in many different degrees, in all types of degrees. But if I hold shift, it becomes straight, right and left, or it can go up and down, or it can be diagonal. So right and down, okay? So that's one thing to keep in mind. It's very handy because most of the time you want to keep things straight and clean. But if not, it's totally up to you. So you can go ahead and try the other tools as well. And create things with them, but they mostly work with similar principles, okay? And then we have the pen tool. Now, the way that the pen tool is also quite simple. So you click once and then you create a point, okay? So click, you have a point, and then you create another point. And if you press and hold, you can basically create curvature. So you can make it curved, you see? So just like that, I created this curve. Now, I can create, very nice shape or whatnot with it by playing around. So just to show you what I mean, I'm just trying to create this 3D shape. I'm not sure what type of shape it is, but it looks kind of like a bathtub. Yeah, just like that, you can create different shapes, with different lines and so on. Now you can edit these, you can change them, you can switch them up. And of course, if you go to design, you can also change the stroke to increase the lines. And this is something you can do with all of them, right? So once you choose a line or a vector, just like this one, you can come here and you can see the stroke. So it's at 1 now. You can make the weight, you can make it have more weight, so it becomes thicker. And there are other settings. You can change the color. And the same thing with these shapes. You can also change the fill. Choose a different color, give it a different opacity, and so on. Because as we talked about it, this right-hand panel, this helps you choose and change the properties of your shapes or of your even other elements like frames. So you can add a stroke to it, you can make it black, you can make it red, and you can also add effects, but that's a little more advanced. But this is essentially how you can create different shapes. With these shapes, you're trying to create your UI. What we also have is text tool. So with the text tool, there are two main ways to create text. So you can just click anywhere and start typing. So you can say, hello world, and then just type as long as you want. And what's gonna happen is it's gonna keep getting as long as you want. It's not gonna go to a second line, right? Because it has no defined shape. I mean, you can see this outline, but it keeps expanding. You know, it expands and contracts based on the size, based on the amount of text that you have. There's another way, which is by creating a shape. So hold, like click, hold, and then leave it. And then you can say hello world. And then when you type many A's, you're gonna see it goes down to the other line, right? So there's a break. And that's basically one difference between these two different ways of doing it. So if you know the shape that you want to create, so if you say, hey, I want some text box right around here, you can create it this way, you know, and of course we can change the settings later, but most importantly is that you set it up in the beginning in the way that you want it, and then you can tweak it later on. But let's right here, hello world. So we can go highlight this, and then in this little section here, we can change the typography. So we can change the font, choose something funny, change the size of the font. Is it regular, or if there's bold version, we can also choose that. Let me show you, like there's these versions that we can choose. We can change the letter spacing, for example. We can make them closer together or further apart. If there's multiple lines, like let's make another line. We can also switch up the spacing between them, the line spacing, or we can write auto and then it becomes automatic. And then we can put this back to 0 to make it normal. We can change the paragraph alignment as well, from like align to the middle, or it could be to the right, to the left. We can also choose in terms of the text box, is it more down or is it to the center or up? So kind of like horizontal and vertical alignment. Both of these things you can set up and change. And I would definitely recommend you to go ahead and try to explore these options and try to figure it out on your own to understand how you can manipulate objects and shapes and text boxes to come up with something that you want, okay? Just take a few minutes to try to understand and get a grasp, okay? So as I mentioned, the nice thing is that most elements, they have the same settings. So whether it's a text element or it's a rectangle or a square, they're mostly the same. Only text objects, they have this section called typography. But everything else is the same. You have fill, you have stroke, you have effect. You can change the positioning as well and so forth. So now that we have that, we have understood how we can create different shapes. Congratulations on completing this free Figma beginner tutorial. If you'd like to continue learning, then check the link in the description. Our full Figma beginner course takes you step by step through designing complete interfaces, building reusable components, as well as creating interactive prototypes and applying UI/UX principles in real-world projects. By the end of the full course, you'll be able to confidently design user interfaces, whether it's an app or a website, while also keeping your files organized professionally and bringing your ideas into life using one of the industry's most popular design tools. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you inside the full course.